right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Oh, come on. We're about to fire the largest gun in the National Park Service. How's everybody doing?
Good.
All right, where's everybody visiting from this morning?
New Jersey.
Jersey where?
New Jersey.
No, the people down there.
Canada.
Canada? Michigan? Michigan? Ohio, so moving our way down. Local. Washington State, so Broncos. Huh? Denver, middle of the country. Florida, Pennsylvania, New York. Arizona.
Huh?
Et les Canadiens, vous êtes Québécois?
Oui. Nah.
That's what I thought. Alright. So, who has seen artillery fire before? Well, actually, first of all, what does artillery mean? Artillery, we talking muskets? No, we're talking about cannons. We're talking about big weapons. These are called guns. Muskets are muskets. Muskets are small arms. We don't call them guns. These are guns. They fire shot. The particular gun we are going to fire today, number 6, the Messenger, projects an 18-pound spherical piece of iron at about 1,300 miles an hour at distances up to 1.5 miles. If you look downrange, you'll see the Francis Scott Key Bridge, known by locals as the Car-Tangled Spanner. That bridge is about 4 miles out. The British fleet would have been halfway between us and that bridge at a distance of
1.6.
2 miles. So if that bridge is 4 miles out, and Canadians, I'm sorry, you'll have to bear with us. We've got our cake measurements. 4 miles out, the British are 2 miles. So the bridge is 4 miles, so the British are 2 miles out. The British have bomb ships. Bomb ships have mortars on board. Who's heard of a mortar before? Has anybody been to a place where there's been a historical siege? Anybody been to like Yorktown? Anybody seen a mortar before? A 19th century mortar. It's short, it's fat, it projects a shell, which explodes, typically explodes, on a parabolic trajectory. That means it goes up in the air and comes back down, like an arc. That projectile works with gravity once it's reached its apex. The British have a range of 2 miles. Our guns here at the fort fire on a flat trajectory. That means it goes straight out, working against gravity. Our range is 1.5 miles. So for most of the battle, the British fleet is outside of the range of our guns. We cannot hit them, but they can hit us. That being said, at 2 miles out, Fort McHenry is pretty difficult to hit. So occasionally they're going to get a little bit closer, and they're going to taste our shot. Fort McHenry and the forts around it had about 72 guns trained out in this neck of water before you. This is the Patapsco River. This is not the Chesapeake Bay. The Chesapeake Bay is over the horizon that way. Our guns will sink British ships. You can't sink Fort McHenry. You can't burn brick. Our supply line is from here to Baltimore, not very far. So the British are going to play a very careful game because they want to avoid cannons just like the ones here at Fort McHenry. What you're looking at is a reproduced section of the upper water battery. There were about 10 guns on this battery originally. It actually hooked around. This whole thing has been reconstructed. After the War of 1812, the whole thing was torn up and replaced later in the Civil War by batteries that looked more like that. That is an original battery. On our battery today, we've got an original French 36-pounder. That gun weighs about 10,000 pounds, so we're not going to be moving it around today. And it projects a ball weighing 36 pounds. Like I said before, the gun we're firing today is an 18-pounder. It fires an 18-pound iron ball. The other 2 guns on the deck are also 18-pounders. We come back on another day, typically during weekdays, we fire the light blue gun all the way at the end of our battery. That is our 6-pound field artillery piece. That fires a 6-pound ball. It's got much taller wheels, enabling us to bring that gun around on the battlefield may be pulled by either horses or men. All right, so right now, the crew of our gun are men of United States Sea Fencibles. United States Sea Fencibles were an Army unit made up of sailors that was stationed here during the second half of the War of 1812. They had some boats. They patrolled a lot in the harbor and the Patapsco River. And they were out here on the water battery at this very location firing guns of the same size 200 years ago this year. What they're doing right now is they're preparing to move the gun back out of battery. Today we're not going to fire projectiles. Unfortunately, the United States Coast Guard doesn't like when we send solid projectiles hurtling down range just under the speed of sound. So what we're going to do is we're going to fire peat moss today. Now, if you're laughing, peat moss sounds pretty funny. Peat moss doesn't kill people, and that's entirely the point. But peat moss does provide resistance against the 2 pounds of black powder that we're going to load into the gun shortly. That's what's going to give us a good boom, and it's going to even add to our big cloud of smoke. All right, so right now we're going through several loading exercises. All right, this is actually going to be loaded live now. The very first thing the crew is going to do is they're going to ensure that the weapon is not loaded. Historically, if we were going to fire an 18-pound iron ball, it would be projected downrange by 6 pounds of black powder. What happens if you ram 2 bags of powder on a gun designed to fire 1? You blow yourself up. Our objective today is to kill things downrange, not blow ourselves up. So we need to ensure that the gun is not already loaded. They're going to handle and implement called the spun. It's a long rammer with a bit of sheep's wool attached to the end. That's dipped in water, typically really nasty, dirty water, just as a result of going in and out of the cannon all the time. They're going to run it into the barrel of the gun, swabbing the weapon out, ensuring that there is no sparks or embers still inside the gun. It also helps break up all the powder that might be built up inside the barrel. They'll provide resistance and make it difficult to ram another projectile down. We just run up the shot. Like I said, today it's gunpowder off. And it's being rammed down by the 2. Now the gun is going to be run into battery. That means we're going to move the gun from its loading position into its firing position. If we were to fire the gun from this position, it would cause a lot of health problems to the men on the gun deck. First and foremost, that gun would probably flip upside down. It's got breeching cables tied around the rear of the weapon that prevent it from becoming a loose cannon when it recoils. Because for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. When this gun fires, we're firing a projectile, it can recoil at about 60 miles an hour, and would go as far as the ropes would allow it. If the ropes won't allow it to go anywhere, it'll flip over or it'll snap the cable. All right, now they're going to aim the weapon. The tools they're using are called hand spikes. Basically, they're just going to manhandle the gun into where they want it to fire. This is a point-and-shoot weapon. There are no sights. There is no scope. There are no dials that we can clock in. You have to be able to hit what you can see.
Cover your ears, cover your ears.
The gunner of the right now inserts a brass pick into the breech of the weapon. He's got a little vent hole drilled that goes all the way down into the chamber. He's going to send that pick down, poking a hole in the bag of gunpowder. He's then going to open up the cartridge, and he's going to dump very fine gunpowder into that little tunnel. Basically, when the command to discharge the weapon is given, the gunner of the left will bring his slow match over. It's a piece of rope soaked in the same materials that's used to make gunpowder. Fire! Cover your ears.
Really loud. You were smart.
He's afraid.
We should have listened to you.
We covered our ears. Well, the two little people.
All right, so let's give you some idea of the sight and sound, and if you give it a second, oh, no, it's going the wrong direction. We won't do the smell today.
Well.
Once we secure the batteries, you're more than welcome to come up and inspect the different guns, ask the gunners questions, ask them what it's like to have a job like this, to basically be paid as a War of 18 12 soldier, which is kind of cool. See how the muskets work, how the cannons work, how the drums work. Wow! And on the next hour, we will be giving a pipe and drum concert up inside the Star Fort on the parade ground.
What was that? That was cool.